Okay, thank you very much, Anai Sensei, and today I would like to welcome everyone to the 139th edition of the Brown Bag Seminar. So we're very excited to welcome today one of the most recent members to join QAOS, Dr. Nuren Abedin. And today she will be talking about rideshare and social business to achieve gender equality. Just as a little bit of background information, so Dr. Abedin is a transport researcher working at the Faculty of Information Science and Electrical Engineering of Kyushu University, and she's also a postdoctoral fellow at the Institute or at QAOS. And she was born in Dhaka and came to Japan in 2008 to pursue her undergraduate studies at the College of International Management of Ritsumeikan Asia Pacific University in Oita in the south of Japan. After graduating from APU, she worked for a major Japanese retailing company, Aeon Kyushu. Afterwards, her work there, she entered Kyushu University Graduate School of Information Science and Electrical Engineering in 2016, where she started her research work on the role of transportation in obtaining gender equality, and she obtained her PhD from said institution in 2021. And now she works also on as a research fellow at Kyushu University Yunus and Shiki Social Business Research Center. And then her focus is, of course, on transportation, gender equality, but also digital healthcare, social entrepreneurship, social business, and impact management and measurement. So we are very excited with this very long list of achievements, of excellent achievements, to have her talk today. And with that, without further ado, I would like to hand it over to her. But just as a small side note, you can post after her presentation questions in the chat, either in Japanese or in English. And then if they're in Japanese, they will be translated, or if they're in English, she can read them directly. So please do not hesitate to ask lots of questions at the end of her presentation. Thank you very much. And now over to you, Dr. Abedin, and I'm looking forward to your presentation.
Thank you so much, Professor Shumaha, for the introduction. And I would like to share my slide. Please give me some time. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you so much. And I would also like to thank you to all the, I would like to thank you, Kyushu University Institute for Asian and Oceania Study, for the wonderful opportunity to share about my work. And I also like to convey my gratitude to all the participants who have made time to join our session today. Community mobility and community transportation in developing countries is one of the least studied areas where I work, and I try to see how this transportation system can impact the course of a woman's life and how it can facilitate their growth to achieve gender equality. So here is the content so that I would like to share today. So I would like to share how transportation and gender equality is related, and why I chose rideshare and social business. And then lastly, our proposed model, social services on wheels, and our findings from our past work. So this is the scenario of the this is the current scenario of our gender equality progress in the world. We are 132 years late. Like we are at this pace. If we want to reach our target goal, we are 130 years late. Especially during the COVID time, there has been a significant number of women drop out from jobs. And also there has been a significant dropout from women's representation in leadership. So if we keep going into this pace, we will definitely not make it by 2030. And definitely not maybe by this century. So through my transportation, what I see the interfaces, and like there might be many reasons behind why we are lagging so much, but then I see the prospects of transportation into this, and transportation being a part of the infrastructure to provide access to education, access to work. It plays, what I found from my research is that it plays a very key role in a woman's life, and I would like to share all the findings from now on. So before we move into that part, it'd be useful to learn about what the transportation scenario in developing country looks like. The transportation scenario in the developed countries is are very different from the transportation scenario in the developing countries. In developing countries, there are several issues that women and girls face every day, which demotivates them, which makes them lag behind in this process. So in the transportation, in the public transportation part, there are mostly public bus, and then there are some informal vehicles like three-wheeler, human haulers, and then these days in the urban areas, there has been increase of private vehicle usage, and also some commercial rideshare services as well. But as the population is growing big and more, and women being half of the population, there are more women who want to go to school, who are participating into work and business. But then somehow the transportation scenario is the issues that the transportation imposes to them, demotivates them to continue or sustain in what they have started. I mostly focus in Bangladesh. So I'll be talking about the travel safety issues in Bangladesh and how it impacts the course of life of a woman. So here on the screen, you see some major issues that women mostly mention about. So first of all, there is a big gap in demand and supply. The number of fleets are insufficient, which makes the vehicles extremely crowded during the peak hours when they have to incur their school commuting, when they have to incur their work commuting. So in the crowded vehicle, it makes very uncomfortable and also a very convenient place for predators to incur some harassment activities inside. So harassment activities inside, which gives mental shock to our female passengers. Also, due to the lack of a sufficient number of fleets, passengers has to wait a long time to on the road to avail a transportation. Also, the transportation, the public transportation, especially the bus, they do not really maintain a timetable. So that really makes it unpredictable, like when you can avail your bus to go to your workplace. Also, in the urban areas in Bangladesh, buses run only in the main street, and the public bus coverage in the village is very low. So in the rural areas, girls, even boys, have to walk a long way to go to the to arrive their transportation hub that would take them to their school or college or their destination. And during this long walk or even in the long waiting time, there are risks of gender violence against women. They can risk of gender violence. So there have been complaints of sexual harassment, verbal harassment, and to the worst case, rape and murder of women in the past. And especially rape is a taboo in Bangladesh, and parents try to avoid this situation by stopping the education of the girl, which has been a big issue in the past, and it caused a big number of dropout of college-going girls in the rural areas. Also, due to the substandard status of the vehicles, there are risk of harms. Passengers often complain about having their body ache or headache or reaching their destination in an irritated mood because of the noise pollution and also the jerking, extreme jerking. And in the cities, there are cabs and taxis, but which are very expensive and not everyone can afford it. Only a few people can use it, so it's not an option for everyone. The travel environment is not safe for children to travel alone. In Japan, kids from elementary school are supposed to go to school alone by themselves, but that is absolutely not possible in Bangladesh, especially in urban areas. Somebody has to take their kids to the school and bring them back, or take them to their cram school or other activities. So that becomes a big responsibility when a married couple have children, and also leads women from and most of the time women, the mother takes over the duty and also leave their job to avail themselves for that duty. And the transportation is also not very user friendly for the elderly people. That is another problem as well. So these are the main issues that has been reported by women in Bangladesh regarding their travel safety. So how these travel safety issues impact their course of life. So I put it into three dropout risk phases for girls. So risk phase 1 is when a girl is in her adolescent period, when she reaches her puberty and the teenage. Especially this risk phase is especially seen in the rural areas due to the distance, the walking distance, and the distance of educational facilities from their home is very far, and it requires almost 10 kilometers of walking in average every day, and there are a high risk of gender violence and health hazard. Risk 2 phase comes when they enter the university life. There are not many universities in the village areas, so they have to move to suburb and urban areas, where using the public transportation is a big challenge. Especially the public transportation service is not dignified. They do not get a good quality of vehicle, good service from the staff, and also the public transportation service doesn't really ensure your safety while you travel. Also, the harassment incidents inside the crowded vehicle demotivates a lot of girls to continue their education. And the third phase is comes when a girl gets married and have their children. So as I mentioned, the transportation environment is not safe for children to travel alone in these areas. It is usually a mother who has to take over the care and the domestic work, and fathers are busy in for economic activities for the families. So the mothers usually who used to work maybe after completing their graduation from university, they might have been working for some time, but they give up their career because they have to take over the care duty for their children. So child suffering is a big barrier for women to continue their job career in the long run. So when the transportation system, when in Bangladesh, when it is designed, it's not really designed keeping in mind of the users, like all the users in mind. So it mostly addresses the major mobility needs, like work needs or working needs, or maybe logistics needs, intercity needs. But for like micro mobility needs or maybe mid-long mobility needs is not really designed to accommodate those. And also for women, the area, the type of roads, the type of destinations they go to, they use are very different from the major roads. So the schools are mostly located quite close to the residence, which doesn't to which you cannot use the major roads. So there is no public services available, but the size of the road is a big issue. So even if government want to put a public bus there, it's not possible due to the size of the road. So there is a limitation in the infrastructure. And then as the public transportation is not centrally controlled, there is lack of safety and also reliability because it cannot be centrally monitored and regulated. And because of this reason, the families or the people who can afford, they are purchasing cars for their families. And due to this increase of private car ownership, the city is facing a very high traffic congestion, and also it is facing a lot of carbon emission, and that ultimately leads to the temperature increase in that region. The transport expense is also an issue because not all people can afford to use a better quality of transportation like Uber, like taxi services, because those are very expensive to use every day. So when we want to address the female mobility needs, we have to address these challenges to design. We have to keep these challenges in mind to design transportation service for them. So so for designing the transportation service, we keep this like it's kind of a competition between social impact, how much social impact you can create versus how much operationally sustainable you can make this service. So we have to think about the road size versus the fleet size. We have to think about how to make it safe, how to make it trustworthy. We also have to think about making it financially viable. We have to think about how we can cover the cost, but we cannot make it very expensive because we have to address the affordability aspects of our target users. We also have to think about the impact on the city traffic congestion and also the environment. And also, like, if the service is actually creating the target impact to empower the women in the society and let them have their utmost growth and demonstrate their full ability. So this kind of how to say, this kind of how to say, yeah, so to address both like these issues, we found out that it is not actually possible like to address these issues only through public transportation, only through our taxi and services. There are some form of closed how to say, transportation services that can be monitored, like and also can be made safe and trustworthy by like school bus, staff bus. But then not all organizations, not all the schools can afford to have it. So it again becomes a battle, like impact versus affordability. So what we thought is that if a car is expensive for an individual to afford, how about a community afford one car? Not really a car, a transportation service. So maybe one car is expensive for one person, but it can be affordable for if 10 people together use it. And instead of using small size private vehicles, if we use the largest size, like the large size, as large as possible, that would match the road size aspect as well, I think we can reduce the impact on the traffic congestion and environment as well. So in the illustration on the right, you see that we kind of position our rideshare service in between the public and private options. So it's not fully public. It's available to all the registered users, but it also provides a service that only private cars can provide, like making it safe, regulated, cost effective, and yeah, safe, regulated, and cost effective. So our target is to like have zero dropouts of women and girls from schools, employment, or careers due to transportation problem. There can be a lot of underlying issues for the dropouts, but we aim to make all the dropout to zero, like that is caused by transportation problems. So here is the proposed model. We call it social services on wheels. It's a community rideshare model. So a transportation service that is owned by a community and used for specific purpose. So on the middle of the illustration, you see there is a module, the community rideshare management module. It has the passenger information, the community members information. The vehicle pool of car is attached to this attached to this information module. So we have the information of all the vehicles, and we have a list of service. So this module can allocate cars, what time, when, where it is needed, and then it can serve different communities, maybe communities of working women, maybe communities for working mothers, communities for families. So this model can be tailored, like matching with the mobility needs of each community. So why we recommend this rideshare model for this kind of like unaddressed female mobility is that the type of cars, the fleet size can be adjusted according to the road size and user demands and needs. It will incur a better resource use, not only by sharing the same vehicle with multiple users, but also with also by sharing the same vehicle between multiple services during the during the whole service hours. So it will reduce the idle time of the resources. It would be affordable due to shared cost, and also safety and monitoring aspects would be also included, so that it is safer and more reliable for women and mothers and parents to use it. And along with the rideshare model, like we also adopt the social business model. Like we try to deliver our rideshare service in a social business model to make more affordable for our target user. The objective of the social business model is to solve one problem in a business way, not profit maximization. So when we can reduce the element profit maximization, a lot of we enable ourselves to offer the services in a better price. So and also, but because it is a business, it must incur its activities as a business. So it should be financially and economically sustainable, but it won't have the aspects of giving dividends to the investors, and thus it will reduce profit-making aspects. This social business model is this is professed by our Nobel Peace Laureate 2006, Professor Muhammad Yunus, and he has created thousands of social business around the world that works to solve problems and social problems and creating impact on long term. So I think I believe that adopting the social business model for our rideshare transportation system enables us to produce more impact for a bigger number of people. So now we move on to our findings, our past findings. So we started this social services on wheels research work in 2013. It was before I joined this project. So the work first started in the rural areas. So as I mentioned earlier, there was a high number of female dropouts from college when they girls when they reach their puberty age and they start growing bigger. More girls were dropping out from their school. So the objective was to see if transportation if transportation plays any part in this whole process. So what we did is we started with studying how their commuting to school looks like. We found that the average distance to school is like 11 kilometers. And then in those 11 kilometers, they have to walk almost 5 kilometers every time, in total 10 kilometers a day. and to go to their school. And between this long walk, there was dangers of sexual violence, and some unfortunate incidents in past actually discouraged parents and made them afraid of social taboo and about the safety of their children, and they usually stop their daughter's education around the puberty age and then marry them off. So we thought, what if we could diminish this risk? What if we could pick them up a little bit closer to their home? Will it help them to continue their education? So we, after studying the location and the whole road, the whole way to their school, we designed like SSW for rural girls. And then we found out that rural girls, and we piloted that for 2 months. We really had good positive feedbacks from the girls, telling that it like, along with reducing the risk on the walkway to the school, it also reduces the physical harm they used to have when they used to walk 10 kilometers, and also used to take the three-wheeler human haulers to their school. They used to reach their school earlier with a very irritated mood, with headache and body ache as well. And then they used to be absent from the school, like almost 20%. More than 20% of the girls used to be absent, absent because of the transportation difficulties and issues they used to face. But unfortunately, from our pilot study, we found that it was not possible to make it financially sustainable in the village because of the affordability issues. We, along with providing the school bus service, we also introduced other services so that we can distribute the cost of running the car the whole day from different service sources. But then it wasn't, unfortunately, we didn't find enough revenue sources to sustain this service in the village. Then we moved to the city, where we worked on designing safe transportation for female corporate employees in Dhaka city. So employees in Dhaka city, along with complaints with sexual harassment on public transportation, they also complain about transportation not being on time, not being able to avail on transportation, and often being late to the office and reaching the office in a irritated mood, and not being able to focus on work. So what we did, again, we started studying about their travel behavior, how they travel to their office, and also how they travel for non-work purpose as well, in order to see if how many services we can introduce to make it more affordable for them. So we studied the SME employees' work commute pattern on the left side. So for employees, in the morning from their own residence, they go to their destination, and in the evening they do the vice versa. So what if we can collect the group of people, maybe a group of 10 people who commute from this similar region and goes to the same office building, or maybe same office area. So we can if we can accommodate their transportation morning time and evening time, they will be relieved from the transportation issues and transportation issues they used to face when they use public transportation. At the same time, we also studied about the enterprises transportation need as well. So enterprise or companies themselves, they incur a lot of traveling. So they go to banks, they go to procurement, they go to HR visits, bill collection. And what we found out that they kind of incur their commuting in common zones. So it is possible to accommodate multiple enterprises' operational travel needs by providing shuttle bus services in the same area. And then we We conducted our study in 2017, from 2017 to 2021. It is in Mirpur Grameen Bank building. This building accommodates 58 enterprises in it. So we, and almost 560 employees work in this building, used to work in this building. Now it's a different, the scenario is a little different. So we studied almost 400 employees in there, and we studied 20 companies regarding the employee travel pattern and the enterprises travel pattern. What we found is that 66% of the employee travel less than 5 kilometers. People usually choose their residence location depending their work location, so that they have to travel less, so that they have to spend less time in availing transportation and going to office. And 23% they live up to 15 kilometer, and then 44% of them uses bus. 44 of them uses bus, the public transportation. A lot of them walk, and also many of them use rickshaw. It's a three-wheeler It's a three-wheeler tuk-tuk, not really tuk-tuk, three-wheeler tricycle kind of thing. And yeah, we also studied regarding how much they spend to understand how much they're willing to spend, how much like to understand their affordability window, and how much they would be spending if a better service can be provided. So we also asked them about if they're willing to use rideshare commuting service for their work commute. And many of the bus employees, many of the employees who use bus or public transportation to commute to office were willing to use a rideshare service to commute to work, because they had a lot of complaints regarding the bus service, but they didn't really have any other affordable solution to switch to. So this is our urban SME community model. And then we also conducted pilot on 2 routes in Dhaka city. One was only for females, and one was in general, both male and female. And then we also studied what kind of impact, like along with solving some of the transport related issues, what kind of social impact it can create. And what we found is that such kind of like this kind of rideshare work commute can actually save up to 23 minutes for that, like can add up to 23 minutes for work every day. So in a month, that would be 7.7 hours. And for personal tasks, it can add up to 34 minutes every day, which would be 11, almost more than 11 hours in a month. And also they reported that because the environment was more controlled and regulated, there was less incidents of crowded vehicles, rough driving, and they said there was less incidents of losing things or theft or robbery. And then we'll ask women like how like the difference, what kind of difference they felt regarding sexual harassment incidents or if teasing when they were using our rideshare service. And they reported decrease in sexual harassment incidents significantly. And passengers also said that they needed the need for remaining alert decreased. So when people were using public transportation, they had to remain alert all their time to be just to be careful about not having their things stolen or theft. But when they were using the rideshare work commute, they didn't need to remain alert all their time, like ultimately, which led them feel safer and reach their work in a more stable and happy mood. And they said that they could pay more attention to the work when they reach the workplace. So those are the 2 examples we did in the past. And then now our current work is on addressing family mobility needs. So what we want to aim is that reduce the burden of child suffering from parents. So parents who are in charge of taking their kids to school and school commute and other commute, we want to reduce that burden so that parents can more focus on their personal or economic or the social work. So that is one we are doing in Dhaka. And then the second one is we are also studying the impact of travel environment on health due to many issues of the like regarding the vehicle itself, the transportation inside the transportation environment. There are different kind of impact passengers feel. Unfortunately, there's not much studies which have been done. So we are doing a study on measuring the impact of travel environment on health. So that would be all from me. Thank you so much for listening. And if you want to get connected, I'm also looking for collaborators. I'm very happy to work together if anyone is interested in transportation research, not only in Bangladesh, but in different parts of the world, because transportation need is very different in developing countries. It's very different in developed countries, especially in Japan. Japan is facing a different type of issue. So I'm very interested to have collaboration in Japan, also in other parts of Asia, Africa, South America. So please do write to me. I'll be very happy to hear from you. Thank you so much, Professor Shumaha, as well. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abedin. Very, very insightful. So without further ado, since we have, I see there's already some questions popping up. I would like to read the first one, and then please. So Polat Hossain asks, first of all, thank you for the insightful presentation and for selecting such an important topic. Then, did you consider any existing service models or competitors like Shuttle BD when designing your model and contemplating business sustainability?
Thank you so much, Mr. Farhad Hossain. That's a very interesting question. In fact, we did. And Shuttle actually started Shuttle actually started in 2018, like 5 years later we started. So yeah, and their service for corporate mobility, I think also started much later than we started our research on corporate mobility as well. Yeah, I did visit the office of Shuttle, and then I also visited their yeah, I had the chance to know about their work. I think it's a little different from what we do, especially for Shuttle. It's not a social business company. It's like, or how to say, contemporary business. So profit making is definitely a key ingredient for them. But what they are doing is great because they are also providing safe transportation to different communities, especially like students, university female students. And I really like the CEO of Shuttle. He is a really motivated person and very inspiring person as well. Thank you. And then there is another service for children which recently started, but I didn't have chance to meet them, but I would really love to know about the work and see if we can do together and like if we can work together to provide more social impact. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we have a question. The next one says that the person might have missed an initial part of your talk, but is interested in transportation service for patients in provincial areas who need to visit medical institutions regularly. Do you have or do you plan a project relevant to this issue?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm really sorry. I cannot really read your name. I think Shin-san, maybe Shingo-san, I think. Thank you so much for your question. Yeah, so we had the medical aspect included in our model in the past, especially in the village, because village has a lot of challenges. Like in village in Bangladesh or in developing countries, it doesn't have it is having some good medical facilities now, but when we're doing it, it didn't have much medical facilities. So we did include the medical services part in our model in the past, but in the rural areas, we did some work in the urban areas, like addressing the medical need for elderly people who live in urban communities. I didn't put the result of that work here, but definitely we can talk more about that. Yeah, please do write to me if you want to get connected and we can discuss more.
Awesome. So next we have the question Mo Aichan wants to know. She really is interested in like, yeah, how you connect, or like really liked how you connect transportation and gender equality. She wants to know how much impact SSV has on gender equality, and what are the improvements?
Miss Meimo Aichan, thank you so much for your question. Yeah, so what we said that like our target is to provide something that facilitates the growth of girls, right? So we are researchers. I don't have it as a business running, so what I showed to you in the in my presentation is the finding from 2 months operation. So in 2 months operation in the city, you see people like both female and male both can add more time to their work and their personal time. In the village, girls said they can continue their education. It can reduce their absenteeism if they have a vehicle that takes them to the school from closer to their home. So if it reduces the walking distance where most of the danger lies, it is absolutely possible to continue their study, and that would also, if they have such services, that would demotivate their parents to stop their education. So yeah. So if you want to know numbers, I don't have exact numbers because it's only from 2 months pilot. So if I do some cohort study, if there is a chance, maybe we can measure the exact numbers. But our ultimate goal is to facilitate the process of learning, growth, and continuing their participation in leadership and economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Then we also have, I will take 2 more questions since we're almost at the end. So any question after this, like, yeah, I can unfortunately not take due to time limitations, but very quickly. So Hossein-san asks one more time, in discussing travel safety, you highlight 11 concerns, often emphasizing safety repeatedly. Shouldn't we also address legal implementation? Proper execution of policies and laws is crucial for effective action plans, especially in developing countries like Bangladesh. So to rephrase it sort of like, yeah, and to keep it more tight, was there already an inclusion of the legal context, of the regulatory context in the country, or is that something that you plan on doing in the future?
Yeah, so I think the legal part for rideshare service itself is on progress. Yeah, we don't have a decision made yet. So it is a work for the future. But yeah, if there's a chance to work, I would love to work in that part. But I haven't actually explored that part yet.
And then as a final one, thank you so much for sharing your nice model, says Mahmoud-san. Really appreciate it. My questions is how social business, or how the social business concept can be aligned with your model, as people are not as much aware of practicing the social business concept. And he's from Tanvir, Southeast University in Bangladesh.
Yeah,
So
thank you so much. I know him. He is one of my colleague and maybe a future research collaborator. Thank you so much, Tanvir Bhai, for this question. Yeah, I know. There is less awareness about social business around, but then Professor Yunus and his team, and also us working hard to let people know about the different type of business that can be done, and also create a huge impact, and to create a more sustainable world for us. Yes.
okay, that is pretty much it. Thank you again for the very numerous questions, the excellent presentation, and also looking forward to hear about your future collaborations, your future achievements. And I'm sure that, as you said, yeah, you already have like potential collaborators. So I'm sure this topic, which is extremely important in developing countries, but also in rapidly urbanizing, emerging economies. So this topic is something that will stay relevant for a long time. And yeah, with that being said, this brings our 139th edition of the Brownback Seminar to an end. So if you do want to get in touch with Dr. Abedin, please do so. as the slides will be shared. I think also her email address was at the end of the slides, but I think you can also find it on the Kyrios website. So please do reach out if you are active or you know a little bit more. And with that, I'm handing it over to Anai Sensei for providing a little bit a preview of what is to come in the near future in terms of brown bag seminars. Thank you again to everyone who joined.
Thank you so much.
And then with that, I hand it over to Anai Sensei. Anai Sensei, thank you very much.
ヌレン先生、シュマハ先生、ありがとうございました。最後に事務局よりご案内させていただきます。まず、次回のブラウンバックセミナーのご案内です。次回は来週5月15日水曜日の12時10分より、九州大学農学研究員の上江栄教授より、持続可能な食料生産のための新しい道、マイクロバイオーム農業と遠征植物の可能性と題し、講演を実施いたします。詳細はホームページをご覧ください。